A morning of showers in the upstate has given way to the perfect canvas for lacrosse. Allsion Kwolek's back on the sideline as the number 22 ranked Tigers look to defend home field with a Louisville side in town looking to get back on the right track. Welcome to historic Riggs Field. She's the former Georgetown captain, Jordy Keir, and I'm Noah Frary. Man, Jordy, March was a gauntlet for the Clemson Tigers, 4 top 25 showdowns. But now, as we turn the calendar to April, the word on my mind, opportunity, and today against Louisville, a big test for the Tigers.
Noah, no doubt, opportunity is the word of today for both teams. But Clemson having the home field advantage, really exciting. Very winnable game for Clemson, but they'll need to bring it. Louisville is coming off a five-game losing streak, and so they're ready to go as well. Should be a great one today, Noah.
Clemson's had a lot of success at home, and now as we take a look at our players to watch for Louisville, the attack starts with midfielder Nicole Perroni. 27 goals on the season, just 2 though in her last 2 games.
Absolutely. Nicole, first-time captain. She's a leader on the field, but certainly off. She is looking to have a big game today, and Louisville will need that.
Big-time offensive threat that Clemson's going to have to deal with defensively. Meanwhile, for the Clemson Tigers, attacker Gianna New, 39 goals on the season. She's been one of the best goal scorers in the ACC.
Gianna is super fun to watch. She is so slippery off ball. She's always waiting for her defender's ponytail, and when she sees that, she's gone. Always finding the seams. Big threat for Clemson.
Get set for lacrosse here in Clemson, South Carolina. Great to see Allsion Kwolek back on the sideline. Missed 2 games, Presbyterian in North Carolina, as she is continuing her battle with breast cancer. Back here today on Senior Day. Good to see Allison back on the sideline as we get set for a big-time matchup here today. A first-time visitor, Louisville. You can see the pink game as well. Tape, a beautiful ribbon on the field as we seek to bring emphasis to the fight for Allsion Kwolek and breast cancer in general. Getting set for the opening draw here today. Ella Little in the circle. She'll face Maddie McKee. This will be an interesting matchup here, Jordy, with Ella. She's a little bit smaller than McKee. We saw her struggle against Maddie Jenner in Duke a couple weeks ago. Opening draw will go to Louisville. So McKee picks it up, and that's definitely going to be a matchup to watch in the center. How does Little fare against the much taller McKee?
Yeah, that's certainly the case here. We'll have to see.
This Louisville team coming in on offense, under 10 goals per game. And Jordy, you mentioned it in the open. This is a team that's been struggling lately. They've lost 5 games in a row after the hot start to this season. What do they need to do today to get back on track?
Absolutely. Louisville, their backs up against the wall, and here first time at Clemson, so new environment. They'll certainly need to come out strong, not get in a hole, and find an offensive rhythm, which they've struggled to do the last few games.
Here's Ryan Smith at the top of the 12. She'll spin it to Perroni, who we spoke on in the open. 27 goals on the season. Perroni rolls inside, and Lamparter with the game's first save. Strong play there from Lamparter.
Yeah, absolutely. That was stick side, right? We've got lefty in the cage, so we'll definitely need some sharper shooting from Louisville today.
Meanwhile, in stark contrast, this Clemson offense, one of the best scoring offenses in the country. They come in 4th in the NCAA, over 16 goals per game. It's been the calling card for this Clemson team early on in Allsion Kwolek's tenure. Jordy, they have been able to put up goals against some of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, they've had some great rhythm on offense.
Here comes Chepnick, bounces one inside, and Clemson has the opening goal. The freshman, Sophia Chepnick, continuing her strong start to the season. She gets the Tigers going early. Looked like Chepnick got a great step on her defender there and was able to get inside and finish, Jordy.
She did, and had a couple fakes, faking high, shooting low. Great decision.
She's been such a huge player for the Clemson Tigers early on in her career. That her 29th goal of the season in just 13 games. You couple her with Gianna New, Hannah Hilcoff, and that's a big reason why this Clemson offense has been so electric this year. And a great start here. Jordy, we started this game talking about the opportunity for Clemson. They need to take advantage of it, and that's exactly the start that Allsion Kwolek was looking for.
Absolutely. Great to see Sophia smiling early in the game. look forward to many more from her today.
So back to the draw circle we go. Peroni battling for multiple Clemson defenders, and now the foul will give it to Louisville. As we mentioned, that will be something to keep an eye on early on in this matchup.
It is going to be a dogfight between the 30s today, absolutely.
Feels like this game could be won or lost in between those 30s. So Clemson with the early lead. First look there at Hannah Morris, 56 goals a season ago, yet to get going, and Lamparter snares that one out of midair.
Again, another stick side save. Louisville's really going to need to sharpen their shooting.
How challenging, you were a lefty shooter back in the day against that goalkeeper that's a lefty. How challenging is that for the offense?
It's proving to be challenging. You know, Louisville will certainly need to adjust their shot and recognize they've got a lefty, so they, you know, shooting stick side is going to be the natural for a righty shooter to a lefty goalie.
Clemson being methodical early on in the shot clock, 50 seconds to go. Now back to X for Maloney.
Passing looks crisp today by Clemson. Really cleaned it up.
Here comes Hannah Hilcoff. She had a big game the other day against North Carolina. 2 goals, 7 goals in her last 3. And Clemson has their second goal. The Tigers off to an excellent offensive start, and as if on cue, Hannah Hilcoff gives the Tigers a goal.
Oh, that's a great spin, and again, another great shot off stick side low. Really tough to save.
And right at the body of that Louisville defender. We talked about Gianna New in the open, but Hannah Hilcoff is having an outstanding season, and 10 multi-goal games now for Hannah Hilcoff. She's been a huge part of this offense for the Tigers.
When she gets a full head of steam, she is difficult to stop. Confident, head up, really sees the play develop. Strong finisher.
Senior Hilcoff transferring over from Oregon. She was the fastest Duck to 100 career goals. So one thing Hannah Hilcoff knows how to do is score. She puts the Tigers up 2-0. Back to the draw circle. Ella Littles held her own against Maddie McKee, who's been one of the better drawers in the conference this year.
And a clean draw by Marina.
So Clemson right back on offense. Some of that make it, take it action that we love in the game of women's lacrosse. Clemson with all the momentum early on in this matchup. Jordy, you mentioned the passing the last time the Tigers were on offense. It's been strong early on.
Very crisp, yes. You can tell that they've made adjustments and taking care of the ball.
Tilson called for the charge, so Louisville will pick it up. It was definitely going to be a point of emphasis today to take care of the ball. Allsion Kwolek, when we talked with her earlier this week, she said, we just need to play our game. That's something they're emphasizing in this matchup.
Absolutely.
So here comes Louisville, trying to get something going on offense. That's been the storyline lately.
And New and Maloney chasing down. Really great redefend.
This Louisville team really been searching for answers offensively. Just 11 goals in their last 2 games. 5 against Syracuse, 6 against Ohio State. Great pass inside, a bouncer and a goal. Allegra Catalano gives Louisville their first goal. Big bounce back for the Cards.
Absolutely. That was great ball movement. You can see that Louisville made the adjustment on the shot to finish strong, put them on the board. Great heads-up play.
Nice job there by Peroni to find the cunning Catalano right there in the middle. So Allegra Catalano picking up her 7th goal of the season. She's been such a consistent piece for Scott Teeter over the last 4 years, 45 starts.
Good on Catalano for unmarked, even just to finish the play. Sometimes undefended is the most challenging there.
Early check on the draw controls, and it's Louisville with the early advantage, 2-1. The 2-1 advantage for Clemson, the 22-ranked Tigers. Clemson, another strong start on offense today. 2 early goals from Allsion Kwolek's side. Jordy, you've watched a lot of Clemson lacrosse this year. What's made them so good offensively so early?
Movement off ball. They never stop moving. They wear defenses out, and you know, hats off to the off ball players as well for not ball watching.
How much more impressive is that, too, for a group that has not played together a ton? You played with teammates at Georgetown, as we see Hilcoff go inside, a miss and scooped up there by Louisville. But for a team to gel together so quickly, how impressive is that in the game of women's lacrosse?
Yeah, hats off to the coaching staff. You can tell that they did some really great work in the fall season to prime them for their first spring. It does not look like a first-time team, for sure. And hats off to our seniors who were celebrating today, really creating that atmosphere, hardworking, fun. They've got a chip on their shoulder, you can tell.
Yeah, that was something as well that Allsion Kwolek mentioned. This is a group that came in here. They wanted to be a part of something bigger than themselves starting this program. And she had nothing but great words to say about that group and what they've done early on in their tenure. Here comes Peroni. McCardell playing some good defense. Good feet in front in the BTB. Catalano was looking for her second. DeGracia went down, so Clemson will pick it up. But, man, that was nifty.
It was the right time to use that shot, certainly.
Catalano already with 1 goal early on. That one, she was looking for a Sports Center top 10 play. A yellow card shown to Louisville on Catalano for that dangerous swing of the stick. So Clemson will be warming up. This penalty would be releasable, so a goal for the Tigers as you get a look there at Catalano in the penalty box. Jordy, you played. That has to be a bad feeling when you're sitting on the sideline in the penalty box.
It is. And, you know, I hope that she's taking a moment to collect herself and getting ready. But
Jordy, were you that player in the penalty box quite frequently?
Oh, never on the redefend.
I didn't think so. Passed off to Hilcoff at the top of the 12. More good passing from Clemson. Fed in front, here's New. Just to left of Cage, and the backup goes to Tigers. First to it on a ball out of play. Maintains possession.
Yeah, that was a great cut by New. Again, so slippery off ball, always finding those seams. Makes it very difficult for the defense.
Shooting space called, so now Hilcoff will have an opportunity from the 8. Clemson looking for an early 2-goal advantage. Hilcoff with a goal already today. Here's Hilcoff, hard to Cage, bounces it past Sarah Adesh, and Clemson has a 2-goal advantage. They take advantage of the woman-up opportunity, and the Tigers lead by 2 here midway through the first quarter. Great start for Allsion Kwolek's side. The 22nd-ranked Tigers with a 2-goal advantage. The perfect start today for Allsion Kwolek's side. They lead 3-1 as we take a look at the ACC in the top 25. This is a loaded conference, Jordy. 7 teams in the top 10 or top 25 rankings in the country currently. Absolutely.
Best conference in the country. And, you know, these seniors, hats off to them. They are courageous for starting and building this program, and what a program and culture they have built.
Jordy, that Syracuse team, North Carolina, they've kind of separated themselves a little bit from the pack, but it feels like it's a dogfight in the middle of the ACC right now, and it could kind of go either way inside the conference.
Yeah, we talked about it being March Madness and now April. It's middle of the fight at the moment for the middle of the pack of the ACC.
Everyone fighting for those coveted spots at the ACC Women's Lacrosse Tournament this year, presented by Ally up in Charlotte. at American Legion Memorial Stadium. Jordy, you're going to be in attendance for those games, and it's going to be a great opportunity to showcase what is the premier women's lacrosse league in the country.
Yeah, can't wait. The stage will be set. Charlotte, wonderful setting to host the ACC championship.
Clemson wins the draw, so right back on offense. A good start so far. A pair of goals for Hannah Hilcoff, who continues her strong stretch lately. Now 9 goals in her last 4 games, and we're still in the middle of the first quarter.
It's great to see Ella having success today on the draw early on, really helping her teammates, getting those possessions. Yeah,
we really expected the middle 30s to play a huge role in this game, particularly at the draw circle, and early on Clemson's had an advantage. Here comes Chetnik, and we'll get a shooting space call. So now Clemson, another opportunity from the 8-meter arc, and Jordy, they've done a nice job. Actually, that's going to go against Clemson for the dangerous throw, so Louisville gets it back. You never know how those penalties can turn the momentum.
And here's that dog fight in the middle of the field that we were talking about earlier, Noah.
Momentum can swing so quickly in the game of women's lacrosse. Oh, nice job there by Peroni to keep that one from going out of play. Nakazawa, 11 in red, making her first appearance of the day. One of 2 players from Yokohama, Japan on this Cardinals side. Here comes Peroni, picked up by McCardell. Great defense there from Clemson. Extra pass fired over top of Cage, and the backup for Nigai Nakazawa.
This possession, Louisville really working that weave up top.
We expected to see a lot of set pieces from Louisville on offense. That's materialized early on.
Absolutely. Again, another weave. Peroni coming off.
Very methodical offense for Scott Teeter. Here's a good move. Morris tried to get open. Oh, nice pass to the middle. And Nakazawa gives Louisville their second. Nigai Nakazawa cutting into that Clemson lead, and she positioned herself perfectly.
She did. She caught that ball in the center there and got her head turned to really see the cage to finish strong.
Got wide open in the middle, and Nakazawa giving Louisville their second goal of the game. Her and her sister Kokoro, both from Yokohama, Japan, both played on the Japanese team at the most recent World Cup. 8th goal on the season for Nakazawa, and now back to the draw circle, McKee and Little. And when Clemson's found success on offense early on in this game, Jordy, it's come from the draw circle.
Absolutely, and Nakazawa being a spark plug as a freshman, really impressive.
So 3-2 early on, 5:31 remaining in this first quarter. Frenetic pace from both of these sides. Both offenses finding success. Little tries to self-draw and is able to do so, but a whistle gives it right back to Louisville. So back-to-back wins at the draw circle for the Cards, and now a chance to tie the scoreline. First look at Kylie Dobson, the junior out of Ontario, Canada. 8 in red today. Great action at the top. Nakazawa trying to get open. Peroni double teamed. Got out of it. Spins inside and bounced it over Cage.
Clemson,
the backup goes to Clemson.
Clemson defense doing a great job reading that weave and switching. Great hustle by number 20, Mallory Martell.
Clemson coaching staff told us they were concerned about some of those set plays, and they talked about the discipline that their defense was going to need to have in this game.
Switching on the weave requires a lot of communication by our D, and senior captain number 20, Mallory Martell, leading that way in communication.
Yeah, it's so challenging. You have to know, am I staying with my man? Am I switching? Is a lot of that communicated in the pregame scouting report?
Absolutely.
Chepnick sailed that one just high, and the backup goes to Louisville. So, Jordy, does that look like, is that scouted from the coaching staff, and they say if this player goes to switch, you're staying or you're switching?
Yes, yes. And, of course, there's always a plan B. If you can't get the switch, then how do we kind of jive off of that? But looks like they're really able to call out the switches on defense so far.
That's where those slides become so important as well.
Yeah.
So Louisville trailing by just one. Great pass and a roll. That was Morris who fired just wide. Shot clock doesn't reset, but Louisville maintains possession. Lost on the crease. That was Morris, and scooped up by Lamparter. Now looks to free it up to Tilson.
Morris, a natural lefty. Got to give lefty love out there, but really strong coming off on that lefty cut.
Hey, you don't see a lot of them in the game of women's lacrosse. You were a lefty, so I appreciate you calling out your fellow lefties.
Lefty love.
A 3-2 lead early on in this game for Clemson. Jordy, when you look at this Tigers team, what have they done well offensively early on in this game?
Taking care of the ball. We talked about Allison being a point of emphasis pregame, and so we can really see that they came out with that sense of urgency, not holding the ball, not stopping the movement, but taking care with crisp passing.
Here comes Chepnick. Great pass. Gianna New bounced it off the side bar.
What a handle by Gianna New.
She's so crafty in those tight spaces.
What a handle.
New came into this game 39 goals on the season, trying to become the third player in the ACC to pick up her 40th goal on the season. Under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Clemson has left the door open for Louisville on offense, and they've gotten some good looks.
Here's that fight between the 30s again, as we're seeing.
This time Chepnick picks it up for Clemson, and Louisville really struggling against this Tigers ride early on in this game.
Yeah, we've created some bonus opportunities here, I see.
Martiri sprints back in on offense. Fun moment pregame for Martiri. Her former teammates from William and Mary flying down on senior day. Star Howard and Martiri each transferring over from William and Mary. Her teammates wanted to come down and support her on this senior day.
Great Louisville defense there, getting out in hands.
Going back to Hilcoff. Strong start to this game. 2 goals, looking for a third. And she'll go down. And that will give Hilcoff an opportunity here for a first quarter hat trick. She's been assertive early, Jordy.
Yeah, she averages 2.8 goals a game, and may have a third one right here.
So good battle here. Tough hash on that far left hash for Hilcoff. Hilcoff chooses to pass out, and it's quickly picked off. Here comes Louisville in transition.
I've noticed Louisville has been hedging out.
So here come the Cards looking to tie here at the end of the first quarter. Clemson got off to the strong start. They've led 3-1. Louisville battling back, and now a possession with the shot clock off here at the end of the first quarter. You have to think they're going to try to get this to Peroni.
Absolutely. Looks like Louisville's working to that high opportunity shot, working to last shot here with 14 seconds.
Peroni fired one off of Lamparter, scooped up by Clemson. Now a scramble for the ball. Louisville tries to keep it in play. A whistle goes against Clemson. They got to go. 2 seconds. Can they get a shot off? No, they can't. Lamparter threw that one away anyway. So Clemson, after one quarter here today, leading 3-2 over Louisville. Strong start to the day for Allsion Kwolek in the 22nd ranked Clemson Tigers.
Hi, Clemson family. I wanted to let you know that the day before we opened ACC play at Notre Dame, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was shocking and scary, but I have found comfort in my doctor's positive outlook and the treatment plan that's in place. Starting next week, I begin treatment, so I'll need to take a step away for a few games, but look forward to returning this season. I want to thank everyone for their incredible support over the last few weeks, especially my team and the coaching staff. I'm really excited about what we're starting here at Clemson. Go Tigers.
That video from head coach Allsion Kwolek coming out ahead of the Boston College game 2 weeks ago, announcing her diagnosis with breast cancer. She stepped away for 2 games, had surgery. She's back on the sideline today. But Jordy, this fight not over for her, and today the Clemson Tigers honoring her with their inaugural Pink Day.
Yeah, absolutely. You heard Allison say the incredible support. Clemson really showing that support today visually, all in for Allison. We have a pink ribbon on the field here to show that support. The whole crowd here in pink today. Nothing but love for head coach Allsion Kwolek as she makes this miraculous return and give her strength as she fights in the next part of her treatment plan, which should be coming out here in the next couple weeks.
She told us she's just been so thankful. You heard on the video too for the continuing support. Even President Jim Clements on the sideline today for Clemson showing his support. It was classy too. Scott Teeter showing up in a pink polo as well. This is a fraternity of coaches in the ACC. They've all been so supportive of Coach Kwolek and her continuing fight over breast cancer. Clemson off to a strong start in that first quarter. They did a nice job at the draw control circle, but you'd like to see them be a little bit more dominant, Jordy.
Yeah, I mean, draw controls are key for possessions, and
oh, Little took a shot to the face. That was Callie Bishop, the freshman midfielder who was in for McKee at the draw circle. Here's another look.
Ella Little down, looks like she's coming off the field after taking a shot to the face.
Unlike in the game of men's lacrosse, the female athletes only wearing that face mask, so a stick to the face, it definitely is a cause for concern. That's why you see her come off quickly, and they'll check to make sure that Little's okay.
Absolutely. Hope she's fine.
Something to keep an eye on there. We'll definitely try to keep you updated.
Just goes to show the battle between the 30s today.
Clemson with an early goal lead as we begin the second quarter. And Jordy, you have to imagine this feels like a great start for Clemson. They come in, they move up from 23 to 22 this week in the polling. They're really trying to establish themselves as the premier newcomer in the conference.
Yeah, Clemson playing with a chip on their shoulder today. Confident, crisp. Liking what I'm seeing. Let's hope they can keep this offensive rhythm.
Chepnick went down hard to the turf. That's going to be out near the 12-meter arc. So not a free position opportunity, and a bevy of teammates over to check on Chepnick. Obviously the story today, senior day and honoring some of these seniors, but you look at a player like Chepnick, she's the future of this Tigers program.
Absolutely. You can see the fight in Clemson today, and that's what they'll need to battle this one out.
Clemson's led by as many as 2 today. Foul at the top against Jimerson will create a free position opportunity. Clemson's been better than 50-50 on these this year, and another opportunity here to begin the second quarter to again build the lead to 2.
I like this matchup with Jalyn with that center hash. Excellent vision and finish.
She's had 3 straight multi-goal games for the Clemson Tigers, and a chance here to give them a 2-goal advantage. Jimerson steps in, fires it by a dash, much to the love of this pro-Clemson crowd. And Clemson again leads by 2 with 13:40 to go in the second quarter.
Absolutely. Jimerson center hash pretty much automatic, as you can see here in the replay. She's got her hands back, fired off stick side. Great shot.
There was nothing that Sarah Adesh, the junior out of Boxborough, Massachusetts, could do to stop Jalyn Jimerson. She's been coming on strong lately, and you love to see that for Clemson, just further expanding this already really good offense. So a 2-goal advantage. And we saw Ella Little come off the field after that last draw. She's not coming back in for this draw. You see Hannah Hilcoff in the center, who will again face off against the freshman Callie Bishop. Definitely an interesting storyline to keep our eye on as this game progresses. Can't pass that restraining line. Nice job there by the Clemson defender. That was Karstein who bounced that around, but quickly turned over. There's that battle inside the 30s that we have talked about a lot already today, Jordy.
Absolutely. It was a clean ground ball pickup, but job's not done until you get it over into your offensive end. So possession will be the name of the game as well today.
Now we'll get a yellow card issued to the Clemson Tigers, so that's going to put Louisville woman up. Jimerson, who just scored the goal, will now head over to the penalty box. So an opportunity here for Louisville with the woman up. Perhaps cutting into this 2-goal deficit, and Jimerson, smile on her face, gets a drink of water. She'll have to sit on the sideline for the next 2 minutes. This penalty would be releasable, so a goal for Louisville would allow Jimerson to re-enter.
Louisville setting up for their woman up opportunity.
The two Nakazawa sisters on the field, and here's Kokoro, got inside. Great pass right to the crease. It bounces around.
Clemson D doing a nice job getting their sticks in the passing lanes, trying to be big.
Why is that so important?
Well, when you're woman up, certainly need to make sure that you're covering ground on defensive ends. So getting your stick in the passing lane. Oh,
Kokoro Nakazawa fires it past Lamparter, and Louisville gets the goal they needed. They do it in the women down. Clemson just unable to overcome that deficit of defenders.
Yeah, Louisville doing a nice job moving the ball. Let's see the replay here. Great recognition, seeing that she is undefended, getting her head around and winding up. That's what you want in a woman up situation. 1-on-none there.
So Nakazawa picking up another goal. Actually, on second look, that was Nigai Nakazawa there on the goal. One wears 11, the other wears 77, so easy to confuse.
Yeah, but great recognition, you know, for a freshman as well.
So 2 goals early on for Nigai Nakazawa, 2 of the 3 for Louisville. Clemson will have position after the foul. Martiri checking back in for the Tigers. Jordy, we weren't exactly sure what we saw or what we would expect to see on defense from today. Louisville, man, zone. What are you seeing early on in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm seeing a man-to-man at the moment. Louisville taking a little bit more chances, hedging out, putting the pressure on.
Why is that man a good decision against this Clemson offense?
Oh.
As we see a foul there, it's going to lead to a free position opportunity. But why is Clemson best defended with a man offense?
Yeah, here's the replay here. Just getting out in the hands, creating that pressured situation has been really successful for Louisville this game.
So Maloney with an opportunity here to again build the lead to 2 for the Tigers. Not the best hash against the goalkeeper. Maloney fires one wide. And a good backup there for Clemson. Fed in front, Gianna New, there's number 40. And the Clemson Tigers back with a 2-goal lead. Who else? Gianna New gets into the perfect spot in the middle.
New always expecting the ball, which is key for, you know, that position. Expecting it, ready to fire.
New just such a knack getting open in the middle of the field. Her 40th goal of the season. Just 14 games. She has been such a huge piece and has become a fan favorite here in Clemson. 40 goals now this season for Gianna New, who transfers over from Davidson. She was an outstanding scorer in her career at Davidson. It's been impressive to see her translate her game to this faster pace of play in the ACC.
Absolutely, and she's transitioned with no problem. Love seeing the crowd getting into Gianna New's goal song here and giving the chef's kiss.
So New giving Clemson a 2-goal advantage again. Tight battle early on between these two competitors. First ever matchup between the Louisville Cardinals and the Clemson Tigers. We asked Scott Teeter pregame, had he ever been to Clemson, South Carolina? And he said, I grew up in Canada, and when they said we were going to Clemson, I didn't even know where Clemson was at. I appreciate the honesty.
Big possession here for Louisville.
Out to Kokoro Nakazawa at the top, defended by Tilson. Nakazawa so shifty, and that will create a free position opportunity on the shooting space foul. It'll be Kylie Dobson set to take. Dobson bounces one past Lamparter, and Louisville responding right back. Actually, on second look, that's Ryan Atkins on the free position.
Freshman from Columbus, Ohio, puts it in the back of the net. Great fire.
Just the second goal of the season for Ryan Atkins. She's been in the lineup. A lot came off the bench in her first 8 games of her career. She's been a consistent piece, though, in the lineup lately. Got the start here today. 3 straight starts for Ryan Atkins. And that decision by Scott Teeter paying dividends as Atkins makes it a 1-goal deficit for the Louisville Cardinals.
Really impressive coming off the bench, the freshman energy.
So back to the draw circle. Hilcoff still in there after we saw Ella Little exit after a blow to the head. Louisville taking advantage. And now a chance here to play make it, take it offense.
On the redefend where I see 1 Louisville defend, I see 3 Clemson swarming. Really pressing on that ride, Clemson today.
Yeah, they've made it so difficult, and we've seen them force multiple turnovers in that ride here today. Louisville has not been equal with Clemson today after the Tigers got out to a 2-goal start.
Looks like they're setting up an isolation here.
Here comes Nakazawa. Look at her spin. Great find at the edge of the crease. Morris fouled.
Excellent Clemson defense, but that help D ready for slide by Nakia, number 19.
Looked like Morris stepped on the crease, so Clemson will get it back. Great to Karstein. Karstein spins, hit from behind, and so she'll have that indirect play off the 12-meter arc. Here's another look at that foul. Jordy, was that contact with the head or with the stick?
Well, goggles were off, so certainly something to the head.
Definitely was close there. So you have to pass out of this at the 12-meter arc. Clemson with a fresh shot clock at 75 seconds.
Louisville appearing to be in that man-to-man still.
Clemson has the 5 goals, but it does feel like they've struggled against that man-to-man a little bit today, Jordy.
Yeah, Louisville certainly putting the pressure on, making it difficult for Clemson to get into that rhythm.
Martiri tried to get inside, and we'll get a shooting space call. Actually, a stick check there against 8 in red, Kylie Dobson. Actually, that's 88 in red, Nicole Peroni, who will head to the penalty box. Here's another look. Looked like Peroni, maybe that stick sliding up that arm and making contact with the neck level. Jordy, that's something that they've tried to clean up in the game of women's lacrosse.
Peroni looking a little frustrated.
So now Clemson will be woman up for the next 2 minutes. got to take advantage of this if you're the Tigers. Martiri will have a free position opportunity. Martiri transferring in from William and Mary for her graduate year. She was scoreless for just the 5th time this season in that last game against North Carolina. This time, with the fresh shot clock, chooses to pass out. Do you like that decision?
I do. Taking care of the ball, using the clock.
Really utilizing that woman up opportunity.
Absolutely. Opportunity for a higher percentage shot.
You have to imagine maybe if that was one of the center hash marks, maybe you take that shot, but that poor angle, it makes more sense to pass out.
Yeah, absolutely, Noah.
Clemson goes back to X. Up top, great passing. A miss there by Maya Scanlon, but Clemson won't come up with it. Nice job there by Sarah Adesh, adept at getting to that ground ball so quickly.
Very gritty athletic play by Adeshi here. Very active goalie.
We mentioned the struggles for Louisville lately, losing their last 5 games, and Adesh has struggled a little bit in goal. She's given up 12 or more goals in her last 5 games, so she was looking to change that today. Jordy, it wasn't going to be an easy task, though, against this very good Clemson offense, but she's looked strong early on. Absolutely.
She's tracking the ball well, coming up with some key plays. That ground ball being certainly one of them.
There's that Clemson ride again. It's been so good today. Why are they having so much success against Louisville in transition right now?
They're certainly getting out on their hands, making it difficult for them to pass it off down the field. So really minimizing that fast break.
The Tigers have led throughout the entirety. Still 16 seconds remaining on that woman up, so an opportunity here for Clemson. Can they use it? Great passing in front, Scanlon, and Clemson takes advantage of the woman up opportunity. It's Maya Scanlon who gives Clemson a 2-goal advantage with 7:06 remaining in the second quarter.
Scanlon just needing a stick. Again, a lefty love there with a nice catch. Gets her head around, fake and finish. Well done by Maya Scanlon.
9th goal of the season for Scanlon, and Clemson leads by 2 midway through quarter 2 in Clemson. At the 11:51 mark in the second quarter, Gianna New joining an impressive club, scoring her 40th goal on the season. This is the who's who in the ACC. Ashlyn McGovern for UVA, Megan Carney at Syracuse. Jordy, it feels like Gianna New has kind of snuck under the radar a little bit this year.
Absolutely, Noah. But she certainly deserves to be in that lineup there, and New being a big part of Clemson's success this year.
New coming over from Davidson, where she had a 4-year career, played in 54 games, scored 115 career goals, nearly 150 points. She has picked up right where she left off. 40 goals now this season for New.
Her being that off-ball threat really frees up the dodge, too, which is critical for an offense, a well-balanced offense.
Now, she's not going to be that player that you see dodge, but Jordy, she is so good at just finding open spaces in defenses.
Absolutely. Can't be on your heels on the backside with Gianna New.
Clemson wins the draw control as Tilson picked it up off the carpet. Here comes Paris Masarakia, another one of those impressive freshmen. Her and Chepnik, the future of this Tigers team. Clemson got some momentum as we went to the timeout. Scanlon scores that goal. They would love to utilize that, pick up another goal here and start a little run.
A run, yes, that would certainly be.
Here comes Hilcoff, tries the face dodge.
Energizing for Clemson.
That one just wide, and Martiri was there. Comes Emma Tilson, one of those lefties. Tilson cutting inside.
Wow, just a great 1v1 move. Strong left-handed side.
A 3-goal advantage for the Clemson Tigers, and after being held scoreless against North Carolina, she was not going to be denied this time.
Absolutely, and great job by Sophia getting over top of the crease to create that lane.
Tilson held scoreless against North Carolina last week for just the 2nd time this year, but picks up her 23rd goal of the season. And watch out for Tilson the rest of this game. The one thing she has done, those goals have always come in bunches. 9 multi-goal games this year for Tilson. She's been a huge threat on offense.
Absolutely, Noah. Great observation. Being part of Maryland's #1 recruiting class, it's nice to see her down here in South Carolina.
So back to the draw circle we go. And we're actually being told that 30 in white is Ella Little. She was wearing 1. We mentioned that stick check to the face, got a little bit of blood on that jersey. So Ella Little back in the draw circle. That's a good sign for the Tigers.
Again, just showing the toughness of this team. Little blood, change the jersey, we're back out there.
Much like their fearless leader, Allsion Kwolek, who's going through a personal battle of her own, battling breast cancer. And you can definitely see that toughness, that grit, kind of that identity building for the Clemson Tigers. Jordy, this Louisville side, they got back within 1 goal. Clemson's gone on a 2-0 run. How can they change that offensively? How do they find a good look on this possession?
Again, they're trying to work that weave up top that seems to be successful so far for Louisville.
Good
feeding
pass.
it into
Morris finds the back of the cage, snuck it past Lamparter. A great response there for Louisville.
Yeah, with the weave kind of distracting up top, having that lefty Hannah kind of pop through there on the left side. Great play.
Tilson doing her best on defense, but Morris, who is coming off of a season last year, Jordy, where she scored 56 goals. She's been a little bit more quiet this year offensively, and if you're Scott Teeter, you have to hope a goal like that gets her going.
Certainly, she came off pretty fired up. Great spark for the team. Puts them in a good position.
So Louisville back within 2 with 5 minutes and change remaining in this second quarter. Morris's 16th goal, or rather 19th goal of the season. It comes in her 70th career appearance here today. She's been another one of those mainstays for Scott Teeter over the last couple of years.
You asked what Louisville needs to be successful in the offensive end. I think it's just sticking to their game.
Yeah, it seems like when they've run those set pieces up top, they found a lot of good success and good looks, Jordy.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be anything flashy or anything different than what they're used to. Just maximizing those possessions as they have right now, an opportunity.
Maseraki had called for that foul, so Louisville with it. This Louisville program, Jordy, really just in an interesting spot. They've got to the point where they're winning most of their non-conference games, but they have shown how challenging this ACC is. They come into today just 1-4 in ACC play. Still kind of trying to get over the hump in this conference.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to find their identity, which is difficult, you know, in a very seasoned conference, but certainly an opportunity today for them to sink in.
It was interesting when we spoke with Scott Teeter pregame. He spoke a lot about just the haves and the have-nots in this conference and the changing landscape of college athletics, NIL, transfer portal. That's affected Louisville a little bit. Here's an opportunity for Peroni. We'll see if she'll take it with 57 seconds on the shot clock. Peroni steps in, blasts that one past Lamparter.
No surprise there. Peroni pretty much an automatic on that 8-meter great hash. That inside hash for her, finding the back of the net.
And that right there is, it shows a change in the game of women's lacrosse. Jordy, when you played, there was a lot more of those hard moves to cage. We're seeing these very talented athletes start to take shots from outside more often.
Yeah, there's a lot of power coming from even just a step inside the 12 arc, and certainly Peroni having that power.
So with 4:38 to go in the second quarter, Louisville back within 1. Allsion Kwolek looking on. Her team has been able to gain separation today, but every time they've done that, Louisville's had the response. Scott Teeter's side doing a nice job. It's a great shot from our camera crew of that draw. What goes into that draw setup, Jordy?
So much more than in my Georgetown days, that's for sure. Everything down to the stick technology, to the setup for sure. Got
to move those arms. Whole goal there is so that no one has a distinct advantage between the two.
And another great shot of the crowd today here at Historic Riggs.
Very pro-Clemson crowd here today, and they're struggling to set up the draw. Sometimes you'll see them go to alternating possession here, but they're going to give it another shot.
Again, as we saw, Louisville not needing to do anything flashy or out of their identity, just taking care of the ball, finishing.
Finally able to get that draw set up, and won by Louisville. A chance here for the Cards to tie.
Textbook draw by Louisville there.
Really feels like McKee knows what she's trying to do, and those players out on the wings doing a nice job.
Yeah, and putting it to the offensive end really gives them that flow going into the offense.
Louisville's had a couple of opportunities in this game to tie. They haven't been able to take them yet. But a golden opportunity here late in the quarter on a 2-0 scoring run to perhaps tie it at 7 on this possession.
Louisville offense really working those corners of the 8 there, trying to create those ISOs from up top.
Good roll there from Dobson. Clemson able to pick it up despite the trickery. Good defense being played on the backside.
Clemson playing a very aggressive man-to-man defense, pressuring well above the 12.
Karstein getting some applause from her teammates, and she might have just forced the turnover. She did. And this Clemson crowd loving the effort there from Bella Karstein.
And that high-pressure defense really causing Louisville to feel rattled.
So now Clemson will look to transition from offense. They've stalled a little bit. It's been over 3 minutes since their last goal. Jordy, if you're this Clemson team, given the lack of scoring over the last couple of minutes, how can they change that here?
Well, using the momentum from the call's turnover certainly would be a ripe opportunity. Here we are working the elbow. Sophia with the one-on-one.
Cheptic tried to get it into New. It bounces to the back corner. And Clemson picks up another goal. They stay in the lead. It's Jimerson who picks up her second of the day. And Clemson again leads by 2 with just over 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, didn't love that decision by Sophia with the draw and dump, but Jalyn really having her back, picking it up and finding the back of the net. Really great team offense there.
That's some of that grit and determination from Clemson, being in the right place at the right time. We mentioned it feels like Jimerson really getting going, her 4th straight game now with multiple goals. She's really becoming just another offensive weapon for a loaded Clemson offense already.
Yeah, really impressive for Jalyn to be that dialed in off ball, ready for that overthrow, if you will.
Jimerson starting her career at Syracuse, the current #1 ranked team in the country, played in 21 games over 4 seasons.
Again, it's good to see Jalyn kind of patting Sophia's back. I've got your back, and you can certainly see that in their play in that possession there.
So the Tigers pick up an unlikely goal. They lead by 2. And much like we've seen Louisville do today, Clemson's done a nice job of counterpunching every time Louisville starts to go on a run.
Another important draw set up here.
Gianna New in the draw circle. That's not something you see lately. She self-draws, and here comes New.
Showing off her impressive stick skills there, the one hand.
Now she has to switch sticks. Those draw control sticks and the regular sticks a little bit different. So Clemson an opportunity here to again build the lead to 3. Two minutes and change remaining in this second quarter. Here comes Hilcoff. Has had a great start today. Spins inside. And we'll have an opportunity here from the 8-meter line.
The attack working those elbows again. Really tough to defend out, kind of in no man's land, as they call it. Having a lot of success from the elbows.
Hilcoff got Clemson going in that first quarter. 2 goals. An opportunity here for a first half hat trick. Hilcoff had that one knocked away, but a whistle will give her another opportunity.
Unlucky for Louisville. That was very good collapse on that 8-meter.
Hilcoff, hard to cage, got it past a dash. And Clemson leads by 3. Hilcoff has a hat trick, and Clemson starting to build some momentum.
Absolutely, you can see she's fired up on that celebration. Getting in, getting her hands back, shooting off stick side. Excellent, excellent finish.
Feels like one of those plays, if you're Louisville, you just hang your head. We mentioned on the free position right before that, they played pretty good defense. They got rewarded for that good defense with a foul, and Hilcoff took advantage.
Absolutely, and that's what you have to do in the ACC. You have to capitalize on mistakes, take advantage.
No easy games in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Interesting to see Gianna News still in the draw control circle. Hasn't done a lot of that this year. Had success on her last one. This feels like a huge draw in this game. Clemson wins this. They've got a chance to build a 4-goal lead. Louisville, you really need to win this draw.
Yeah, not sure what the strategy is here. It seems to be working, but maybe quick hands. Gianna New having quick hands could be part of that decision making.
And good for Louisville right there, able to win that. So a chance here to perhaps put a halt to this momentum for Clemson. Trailing by 3 for the first time today. Here comes that weave at the top. We're going to get a foul. That'll be on DeGracia, the junior transfer from Marist. So Louisville with the indirect free position from the 12-meter arc. Fresh shot clock for the Cards. You have to pass out of these opportunities. Quick ball movement. And now it looks like Louisville might try to settle in. Going to get a shooting space call against Star Howard, one of those players being honored today on Senior Day. So here's a good look now for Louisville.
Yeah, inside hash.
Here comes Izzy Cycle. Passed it inside, it bounces around and into the cross of Lamparter. Now a crease violation. Clemson gonna keep possession. Lamparter's been so good in goal this year for Clemson. She was the #1 goalie recruit to Maryland, plays 4 games there last year. She's been huge in cage for Allsion Kwolek's side.
She is so steady, really sees the ball well, tracks the ball really well, as you saw on display there with the stuff.
Lamparter just yesterday named a mid-season All-American by the Lacrosse Association, first one in Clemson history, being rewarded for her strong start. And there's a lot of good goalkeepers in the ACC, but Lamparter starting to rise to the top.
Again, working that elbow, Clemson.
Here comes Chepnick, fires it past a dash. She is so lethal on that inside roll.
Absolutely, and she is just tearing it up on that elbow, no man's land, making it really difficult for Louisville to slide from that angle.
Chepnick got the Tigers on the board to start today. Her second gives them their largest lead of the game. The freshman Sophia Chepnick, 2 more goals today, now 30 on the campaign. She's been so good lately, 6 straight multi-goal games. She has been the huge catalyst for Clemson's success in this first season.
Absolutely, and that finish off stick side high right in that top pocket. Beautiful.
It was impressive. She's got a long career ahead, and Allsion Kwolek has to have smiles on her face every time she sees Chepnick score. So Clemson on a 3-0 run to build the lead back to 4. Still 22 seconds remaining in this second quarter. It's been an eventful first half here, and McKee wins the self-draw. New, though, steals it away.
Oh, with the back of her stick.
Can Clemson take advantage? 14 seconds left in the second quarter.
Will they push it in transition?
Swung around quickly. We'll get a foul at the top. The clock's going to stop with 5 seconds to go. And Allsion Kwolek wants an explanation.
Senior captain Marina Miller, such a workhorse with the ball now.
So 5 seconds remaining. Clemson's going to have to hurry. Miller from outside bounces it past a dash. Clemson leads by 5. Miller took it on her own, and Clemson has their largest lead. But let's go all the way back to Gianna New. She started that whole thing with that great steal in transition.
Yeah, she actually had the ball on the backside of her stick and was able to still, again, those fast hands, that impressive stick work, get it off to a teammate to push it in transition. But what a shot by senior captain Marina Miller. My goodness, very unexpected, great bounce shot.
So with just 3 seconds to go in the opening half, Miller picks up goal 16 of the season, one of the 9 seniors being honored today. She's been the captain of this team. What an impact she's had in her first year. And you have to imagine that was a nod to Senior Day. That's probably why you take that shot. As we see Clemson win the draw, the clock will run out on the second quarter. Clemson with an impressive first half, putting their foot down here today in Clemson, South Carolina. They lead by 5 at the break here in the upstate. Halftime here in Clemson, South Carolina. The 22nd ranked Clemson Tigers with a 5-goal advantage at the break. As we welcome you now here to historic Riggs Field. She's the former Georgetown captain, Jody Keir, and I'm Noah Frary. Jordy, we came into this game, we expected to see a battle inside the 30s. We've seen just that. That Clemson ride has been really good.
Absolutely. They're certainly wearing on Louisville. Clemson's wearing on them, really making them work for that. And it's taking a toll, and getting those extra possessions has really paid off in the score there, as you can see.
Yeah, Clemson's done a great job of doing just that. But when Louisville has had offensive opportunities, they've really taken advantage, particularly with set pieces today, Jordy.
Yeah, absolutely. When Louisville has been able to set up and run their offense, they've had a lot of success. It's really in those jumbled situations where they've had some maybe turnovers or haven't found as much success.
Louisville, 6 different goal scorers in that first half. A couple from the free position there was Peroni, who scored. The Cardinals, though, trailing by 5 at the half, and it's because Clemson went off offensively. Chepnick got it started. 6 different goal scorers so far for the Tigers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tigers are doing a really great job drawing out the defense, really working that elbow, which is really making it very difficult for the Louisville slide to come. A lot of great one-on-ones and some really great connections, assisted goals with New and Maya.
Jimerson with a couple of goals in that first half. Hannah Hilcoff, a first half hat trick. Chepnick also with 2 goals as well. And Clemson playing extremely well here today and really showing why they are that 22nd ranked team in the country this year. Jordy, this feels like the perfect start for this Tigers unit. They came in first-year program. They were picked 10th in the conference. They've come in and really shown that this year they're part of that upper echelon, but in years to come, they might be one of the better teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, no, we talked about opportunity being the word of the day, and we see Clemson really seizing that opportunity, and really all season in their inaugural season, coming out with a chip on their shoulder, playing great team offense. They are certainly maximizing the opportunity they have on this beautiful day.
Let's take a look at some first half stats here. Pretty even in the shots department as well as in the draw controls. Jordy, you see those stats and you say this should be a tighter game. Why was Clemson able to build some distance at the end of that first half?
Absolutely. These halftime stats are interesting. You know, pretty similar in stats here, but Clemson just putting the ball away and those bonus opportunities really creating momentum.
Both teams shooting it well here today. 12 goals on 17 shots for Clemson, 10 on 14 shots for Louisville. Scott Teeter, how do you think he feels about his team's performance in that first half? We've talked about the struggles for this Louisville team lately. What do you make of the first half for the Cards?
If I'm coach, you know, I'm hopefully they're coming out with a lot of energy. I think he might want to see a little more energy from his team. They seem a little quiet, a little reserved, maybe a little flustered from the battle of in between the 30s and the ride. So really trying to build them up to come out electric in the second half.
The scoreline of 11-6 doesn't necessarily do this game justice. Louisville's been within one a couple of times. Meanwhile, though, Allsion Kwolek has to be pleased with how this Clemson team responded in that second quarter. They go on that 4-0 scoring run to end and build a lot of distance heading into the half.
Yeah, Clemson's done a really good job capitalizing on Louisville's mistakes, and that has been key. That's been, you know, really helping them gain that momentum and creating that distance with the 11-6 score.
So here's Little and McKee at the draw circle to begin the third quarter.
Clemson just playing with so much purpose today.
So Clemson will lead by 5 as we begin the third quarter. We're having some technical difficulties with our score bug, so we will definitely keep you up to date on the time and score. But Clemson with a 5-goal advantage as we begin the third quarter. Big draw control win there for Louisville. If Clemson had won that, all the momentum was in the Tigers' corner.
Yeah, and who knows what the halftime chat was, but Louisville certainly coming out ready to fight and understanding the importance of that draw control.
And you have to imagine that's probably what Scott Teeter's message. You don't want to not fight in the second half. You know as well as I do in this game of women's lacrosse, 5 goals isn't a ton.
Absolutely. Louisville's very much in this game. There's still so much opportunity for Louisville, but they will need to start with taking care of the ball, unlike that possession.
So 5-goal advantage for the Clemson Tigers. Happy to report the scorebook back up and working. Really, it was a perfect first half for Clemson's side. They jumped into the lead early, Jordy, and then we mentioned 6 different goal scorers. It was a methodical approach. They really took advantage of some tired Cardinals' legs at the end of that first half.
Louisville still in this man-to-man D. Looks like they may be sagging back a little bit on the 12.
Swung down below the crease, extra pass in front. Clemson takes advantage.
Crisp, excellent ball movement by Clemson on the offense there.
Another great look. That time, Maddie Maloney put herself in the right spot at the right time.
1, 2, 3. Beautiful ball movement. That is a total team effort, getting the D to move, their heads spinning, leaving Maloney lefty wide open.
So Clemson picking up right where they left off. And that was something that Allsion Kwolek, when we spoke with her earlier this week, she talked about the crispness of the passing. It was on full display on that offensive possession.
Yeah, and you can just see how excited the sideline is. Just all total team effort, the crisp passing, getting that D to spin their heads. They couldn't even track where the passes were going.
So for the next 2 minutes, it will be interesting to see in this game. When we talked with Scott Teeter pregame, he said if this game were to get away from us, expect to see some players a little bit deeper on in our bench. It'll be interesting to see when that point comes, if it does come today.
Very physical game today, both teams with some high foul stats.
Clemson has scored the last 5 goals. Women's lacrosse and lacrosse just in general, a game of runs. Clemson on a big one right now. Give and go. Hilcoff passed up the shot. Extra pass in front. And there's Scanlon. Her second goal and more. Textbook passing from Clemson. The lead now 7.
Not much Adeshi could do when you have that feed from behind in after all that ball movement. Very difficult for a goalie to track that ball. She's still turning as Maya is taking that shot. Very difficult to defend.
Second goal of the game for Scanlon. Scored in that second quarter. Gets another one here. Scanlon, who transferred over from Jacksonville, just a sophomore. She's a piece that this offense could be built around in years to come.
Absolutely. And lefty love just one more time. We've got Maloney lefty to Maya lefty.
Scanlon just a sophomore, great size. She was an all-freshman team honoree in the A-Sun a season ago for a pretty good Jacksonville side. She's made her impact known. Now 10 goals on the season for Scanlon, and Clemson starting to dominate at the draw control. Louisville watching this one slip away, it feels like.
Yeah, it's great to see Scanlon have a breakout game here at against Louisville.
Jordy, we've seen this Louisville side in man against Clemson for most of the game. Do they need to make an adjustment here?
Seems as though they've made an adjustment and they're sagging back, not playing out in their hands as much.
What does that change tell you?
Seems as though that they are relying less on the slide and they're really focusing on slowing down that 1v1 opportunity that has burned them.
Did a nice job defensively there on Hilcoff. She has to give it up to Tilson.
Ultimately, this U of L defense must be pretty tired. Clemson working them extremely hard with the ball movement.
Yeah, it's probably been an exhausting last 10 minutes. Clemson, it feels like they've had the ball in their cross for about the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, they've been in a defensive posture for about 10 minutes.
Good stand there, though, for the Cardinals defense, and a great outlook pass. Here come the Cards in transition. Nakazawa will sprint back in, as well as Peroni, and we'll get a foul on the edge of the 8-meter line. A block called against Masarakia. And now an opportunity here for Louisville to stint this large run. So Maggie Foster, one of the defenders on this team, and opportunity for a rare goal. Foster got inside, bounced it wide. Louisville has the backup. Foster doing a nice job in transition, Jordy, and that has to be a defender's dream to get a free position opportunity.
Yeah, and I love that she took it. It was a great take.
Foster's been such an integral part of this defense, over 52 appearances in the last 4 seasons. Louisville, though, fresh shot clock. They turn to Peroni, goes right at McCardell. Lamparter stuffed it. Battle for the ball, and Nakazawa does a nice job of picking up the ground ball. Here's Dobson. Extra pass to Morris. Morris fires into traffic, and that's going to be an easy call for the officials. It looks like a yellow card is about to come out as well. A dangerous throw there against, I believe, Nakazawa. Actually, Morris it will be on.
Morris looking to take that outside shot.
Here's another look. She fired that right into the chest of DeGracia.
Certainly looked dangerous.
So Morris will head out. And Jordy, I don't know about you, but I would love to see the game of women's lacrosse adjusted to maybe create more of those outside scoring opportunities. Obviously, safety is a major key, but we're seeing just athletes, and we'd love to see that on full display.
Yeah, of course, the technology has changed. Women are a lot faster, stronger in our game, and you know, shooting by the 12 and beyond is certainly a reality. So I think we do see that.
We saw Boston College here a couple of games ago, and it was really their attacker, Charlotte North, who kind of changed the game and started to show off the athleticism of the game of women's lacrosse.
And just the accuracy and control with those power shots, too.
Those are shots that you see a lot in the men's game. Obviously, a different style of lacrosse, but certainly something you're starting to see integrated a little bit more closely into the women's game. So Clemson women up here for the next minute and a half. Swung behind Maloney at X. Oh, great catch.
Really great patience by the Clemson offense right now. Really working that possession for that wide open, high percentage shot. Again, just shows the adjustment they've made this game, really taking care of the ball.
Fed in front, and shooting space will give Chloe Willard an opportunity. That ball movement creating that good look for Willard, and now a chance to capitalize. Willard 12 goals on the season, 0 of 1 on free position opportunities. Willard, hard to cage, snuck it past a dash. And Clemson pouring it on. The lead is 8. Chloe Willard, the 8th different goal scorer today for the Clemson Tigers.
As we'll see in this replay, she fakes as if she's going to pass and then takes it to the hoop. Really, really smart, tricky, offensive heads-up play.
That felt like the lacrosse version of a slam dunk right there. Faked him out, the little hezzy. Roll inside and get the easy goal. Willard now 13 goals on the season. Another one of those players being honored today on Senior Day. Transfers from Colorado and has been a huge part of this new look Clemson program.
Yeah, and that really just showcased her IQ, her lacrosse IQ on that play. Not just diving right in for it, but really faking us all out, including the goalie.
Yeah, she briefly fooled me there on that hesitation move.
No, she definitely fooled you.
She did. I'm just saying, Amanda Butler, if she has another year of eligibility, I mean, that was a pretty good hesitation move. Maybe sign her up for the women's basketball program. Clemson's women's basketball program having an impressive end to the season. They got to the third round of the women's NIT. Amanda Butler doing a great job with that program. Tigers lead by 8.
Ella Little with the self-draw there.
Jordy, you look at this Clemson program. We started the game talking about opportunity. They have clearly seized that opportunity here today against Louisville.
And it's so great to see as they're playing with so much purpose today for their seniors, for their coach, for this inaugural historical year. Really exciting.
This Clemson team playing in just their first game, or first season rather, as a Division I women's lacrosse program. They've already picked up a top 25 upset. We'll get a shooting space call now, and Clemson a chance to continue to build on this lead. But they've already picked up that ranked upset. They've made some noise in the ACC, and their stretch of games down the stretch is going to give them an opportunity to really put together a strong season.
Not having that midweek game, I think, really gave them the practice that they needed to sharpen up, be prepared for this Louisville team.
Hilcoff has her 4th goal of the game. Man, she's been so good for Clemson today and continues just a strong stretch of play.
Freshman from Farmingdale takes it in. Just a nice, hard bounce shot. Serving her well today.
Hannah Hilcoff now 11 goals in her last 4 games for today. Clemson, the lead is 9, and it won't surprise me to start to see some of that bench for Louisville here with the Tigers really separating this game.
Yeah, Louisville coming off of a tough midweek game, and then again a battle between the 30s. They've got to be tired. I'm sure they will send in some fresh legs here.
Louisville came into this game in a perilous spot, sitting at 1-4 in ACC play. A loss would drop them to 1-5 and perhaps put them into that first round of the tournament, where they might have to go on the road and then travel to Charlotte. That's what they're trying to avoid. Clemson still playing a woman up after that unreleasable penalty on Morris.
Looks like they're pushing the fast break here.
And now we'll get another foul. Clemson doing a nice job off of that draw to get right back in and create a free position.
Yeah, Ella Little, again, self-draw, really building momentum for Clemson to keep wearing Louisville out, which is what we're seeing here in the second half.
So Jimerson, who has a pair of goals in this game, will have a look from 8 meters away. And this one, it doesn't get much better than this angle, straight away against the dash.
Grip and rip. And that's what we see.
Jimerson fired it right into the upper left corner. A hat trick today for Jalyn Jimerson on senior day.
Big smiles for Coach Kwolek. Textbook execution.
Look at the stick drop there. Did you see that? Kind of mic dropped after she made that long shot.
Well deserved.
Have yourself a day, Jalyn Jimerson, and we've got a timeout on the field. Clemson, an impressive showing today. They lead by 10. Jimerson has a hat trick. We'll step away for a quick breather. Clemson rolling here in the third quarter. Sophia Chepnick got the Tigers off on the right foot today with the opening goal, and what a freshman year it's been for Chepnick. Now 30 goals on the season, and add on top of that the largest NIL deal in lacrosse history. She signed a 6-figure deal with Lope Mogul in the middle of March, and we spoke with Allsion Kwolek about it. She said, I didn't quite know what the metaverse was. She had to get a lesson on the metaverse, the sports metaverse. She's done that. But Coach Kwolek said that's a game changer for not only women's lacrosse, but lacrosse in general.
Absolutely, and the first lifetime NIL deal. Really impressive.
Just so much excitement there, and it's even neat, too. Just a first-year program here. That's something that Allsion Kwolek will be able to sell. The exposure that you're going to get at Clemson. We see the great job that our ACC network crew does here in Clemson, South Carolina. And this Tigers team, it really feels like, is set up for a sustained run of success in the ACC.
Yeah, Allison was smiling ear to ear for Sophia and just landing this deal and what it means for the program and the sport.
Peroni rolls inside, fires one over. I did ask her on that call if she's joined the metaverse yet. She said, not yet. Here comes Cycle, rolled inside. Lamparter there. Another one of those talented recruits for Clemson. Lamparter having another strong day today. 6 saves. She's given up those 6 goals. But she just has never given Louisville a chance to put together a sustained run.
Good patience by the Clemson offense here, not pushing that on the get and go there.
Jordy, the 10-goal advantage for Clemson, does this result surprise you at all, being a first-year program against a pretty decent Louisville side?
Surprise me, no. Shock, no. I think just really impressive, the discipline and how they've been able to use this week of practice to really clean up. Nice attempt there with the Twizzler shot.
Yeah, Hilcoff tried to bounce that one inside. The backup goes to the Tigers, so they keep it with 40 seconds on the shot clock.
No goal, but some style points there.
That's what it's all about. Long race, unable to keep that one in play, so Louisville will have possession on the turnover. And now a foul there by Hilcoff in transition. Clock continuing to run, just over 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. And Jordy, we came in, we spoke about the opportunity that this game was going to be for Clemson. They've got winnable games coming up against Virginia Tech in Pittsburgh. You've got Syracuse, #1 Syracuse next week on the road. This is a critical stretch of the season for Clemson and really an ability to make a statement as a first-year program in the ACC.
And it almost feels like this is the breakout that they needed to continue that momentum into the back half of their season to grab some of those wins that will position them well nationally.
Louisville, though, left searching for answers. They came in, they'd lost 5 in a row. They were picked to finish 8th in the preseason poll, but this team disappointing a little bit at this venture. Still some time, though, down the stretch of the season to work things out. Good move there. Peroni got inside, off the chest of Lamparter, scramble for it. Multiple bodies, and now a crease violation for Louisville. And now starting to see some chippiness between the Tigers and the Cardinals, these first-time opponents.
Yeah, but again, hats off to the Clemson coaching staff just for preparing their team for this moment, this opportunity today. That week of practice is really paying off, cleaning up some issues that they've had in the last couple games.
No more midweek games for the Clemson Tigers the rest of the way, and that was something the coaching staff was definitely looking forward to here at the end of the year. Clemson still with the starters on the field. And we'll get a shooting space call against Louisville. That's going to give Hilcoff an opportunity from the 8-meter line. 4 goals today for the senior out of Oregon. 11 goals now in her last 4 games. Hilcoff an opportunity to build on that impressive tally. Hilcoff hard to cage this time. Adesh stands on her head. Actually, it appeared to be Jay Pleck who's in goal now for Louisville. Scott Teeter making a change.
Successful clear by Louisville.
Emma Johnston helping up her Louisville foe. Some good sportsmanship there after the foul. That was Ava Coyle, the sophomore defender, who went down hard on that play. Jordy, it's been a frustrating day on offense for Louisville. Some early opportunities, not much lately. How do you make the most of these last 18 minutes of this game offensively?
Yeah, I see that Hannah has the ball here. Really just trying to work that Clemson defense the way that Clemson offense has worked them will be the key.
Great roll. Fired off of Lamparter. That was Catalano.
Clemson being so tenacious with their 1v1 defense, really just trying to work and break them down with longer possessions may be the key, but time is running out.
Definitely seeing some tired legs from this Louisville side. Clemson has played a lot of offense today. Poor pass there. Louisville takes advantage. They're There have not been many mistakes today from Hannah Hilcoff, but a bit of a mistake there, passing up top.
Again, Lamparter just being so steady back on D for Clemson. Really, really able to track the ball, take cutaway angles.
So a yellow card was issued there to Hannah Hilcoff. So Louisville will be warming up for the next 2 minutes. They're going to reset the shot clock as well. So a fresh shot clock for Louisville to work with here. And if you're Scott Teeter, you want to use these opportunities to get better here despite the scoreline. Oh,
you have to. You have to convert this. Scott Teeter, he's really needs to make sure that his team is fired up. Even in these moments, forget about the score, converting, using this as practice on their warming up offense.
So now after the officials get it all sorted out, 90 seconds on the shot clock, warming up opportunity for Louisville. Nakazawa does a nice job of splitting multiple defenders. She'll give way to Peroni. 2-minute releasable penalty, giving Louisville warming up. Here's Morris. Nakazawa fired that one past Peroni. Looked like it was deflected by the Clemson defender.
Great job by Mallory Martell, again, getting her stick in the passing lane, really trying to be a threat, being big, getting her stick in the passing lane.
Good feed in front, and that'll be a foul. So Louisville will have a free position opportunity here. Allegra Catalano will take it. She scored early on in this game. It was the opening goal for Louisville in that first quarter. Catalano a chance here for a second goal of the contest. Straight away, inside, off the pipe.
Unlucky, that was a nice take.
Louisville has not been able to buy a goal here in the second half, still scoreless. Good defensive play, though, by the Cards.
Taking advantage of some sloppy play by Clemson.
Passed ahead to Abby Scully, the sophomore. And there's Lamparter, again, minding that net.
And we've got a bit of a track meet here.
Oh, great stick check there on the ride. Good defense, but ultimately a foul called against Kirchenheiter. Just under a minute remaining in the third quarter, and a timeout called. The Clemson Tigers with a 10-goal advantage here today. And Jordy, this offense for Clemson, it's been impressive to say the least today.
Having multiple threats, so many different goal scorers really makes it difficult for a defense to narrow in on a single threat, which has made Clemson so successful today.
Clemson with a 10-goal advantage, timeout on the field, and it gives us a great opportunity to talk about a player who's done a nice job today, Emily Lamparter. She's been such a huge pickup for this program. She was the #1 goalie recruit just 2 years ago, goes to Maryland, now transfers here to Clemson. She's going to be a staple. She will be one of those top goalkeeper names in the ACC for years to come. Lamparter picking up All-American honors earlier this week. Honorable mention by ILLCA, 9 saves today. Jordy, talk a little bit about just how good she's been this year and what makes her such a good goalkeeper.
Again, she just tracks the ball incredibly well. She's steady. She doesn't play high on the crease. Rather, she just really focuses on her angles. Believe she's a pretty good communicator to her defensive captain, Mallory Martell. And she really is able to have great vision on the clear, really setting up the Clemson offense coming out of the defensive end. A lot of confidence on the clear. I see here that she had a career high of 16 saves against Notre Dame, and she's probably reaching close to that today.
Yeah, another strong game today for Lamparter. It will be interesting to see if we see a goalkeeper change at some point. It looks like Lamparter going to stay in for now, but don't be surprised to see Chrissy Kowalski in this game at some point. But a strong start to her career here as a Clemson Tiger. Allsion Kwolek loves talking about the play of Emily Lamparter. She's a player that grew up in South Carolina, and that speaks to the power of having a program here at Clemson. Those are players that in the past have left for big-time programs in the North. Suddenly, they have a place here at home that they can stay.
Absolutely. Lake Wiley, South Carolina. Love to see homegrown.
Here's a look at there at Jay Pleck, the sophomore out of Auburn, Georgia. Sarah Adesh started in cage today. Pleck getting an opportunity. Those two have kind of split time this year. So Pleck in goal for Louisville.
Clemson offense really spread out, really taking advantage of the width of the field.
Shot clock off, so Clemson, it looks like they're going to be content to take this one into the fourth quarter. Sprinting on is Hannah Hilcoff.
Little cat and mouse game, it almost looks like right here. Drawing the Louisville defense out to them.
Johnson has it knocked away. 15 seconds on the game clock. Here's Chetnik. Tried to feed that one in front, not on the same page there with the cutting Jimerson. Actually, that was Hilcoff that Chetnik tried to find. Louisville, 2 seconds left in the third quarter. They won't get a shot off. It was an impressive third quarter for the Clemson Tigers. They build the lead to 10, outscoring Louisville 5-0. Clemson well on their way to victory 10 in their inaugural season. Senior day here in Clemson, South Carolina, but Jordy, it's important to look ahead at the future for this Clemson Tigers program, this 2023 recruiting class, highly touted as well. There's a lot of talent, and that speaks to the staying power for Clemson.
This lineup is incredible. The 23 recruiting class for Clemson is bright. It is making national waves. Allsion Kwolek doing a great job being a fierce recruiter. Specifically Natalie Shurtleff coming out of Baltimore, Maryland, St. Paul School for Girls. Highly, highly recruited prospect and coming here to Clemson, South Carolina.
Jordy, I saw a smile break your face right there talking about your old hometown, Baltimore, Maryland, really a lacrosse hotbed, and you told me pregame that's kind of where you started to fall in love with the game, going to Homewood Field with your dad and watching some of those lacrosse games. Neat to see the game growing, though, further south.
Absolutely. It's great to see all these Baltimore, Maryland girls making their way down to South Carolina to make history. So, yeah, certainly have a little bias there, but great player. Been able to watch her at the high school level really making waves and will make an immediate impact here at Clemson.
It's funny, I've had several opportunities to joke with Coach Kwolek as we've had those pregame Zoom calls about her recruiting strategy and how easy it is to recruit to this weather, this time of year. Some of those northern schools, they're playing with snow flurries right now.
Absolutely. Weather certainly is an advantage. Remember those practices in early January, not so fun on the hilltop. However, we'll say hats off to how Allison has been able to take Clemson, with no history, right? No lacrosse history, and really doing a great job out of the gates with recruiting, and you can see that in the 23 class. I know she's really excited to have them here on campus.
Well, and that's also a credit to this senior class that has come in. They've been unselfish. They wanted this program to get a good foundation. This group of 9 seniors that is going to be honored post-game today, they've certainly done that, Jordy.
Absolutely. They have paved the way for a bright future.
So Clemson going to have a free position look. Sophia Chepnik from that left hash. Chepnik, 2 more goals today, 30 on the season. She's lethal from these looks. Chepnik fires it wide. The backup for the Tigers. Good look, Chepnik, great catch, extra pass for New.
And stick work is just on display at the moment.
I think New was a little bit surprised there wasn't a foul blown.
Oh.
Hilcoff races all the way back. And we're going to get a foul against Clemson. It's going to be a block, and Louisville will get possession. Jordy, you've seen teams like Florida, like Jacksonville, start to have some success down here in the Southeast. We've historically heard, the Northwesterns in Chicago, the Boston colleges that have been the gold standard, even your alma mater, Georgetown, in years past. But this feels like it could be a turning point in the game of women's lacrosse. If Clemson is able to build a strong program down here, this might change the game in women's lacrosse.
Yeah, absolutely. Clemson has come out and made a national splash. They are strong. They are confident. They have a chip on their shoulder. They do not look like a first-year program, that's for sure.
We mentioned the recruiting class as well. This was the only year that they'll play here at historic Riggs Field. They will get a brand new facility as we get a look at the foul there. Tilson and Nakazawa colliding. Free position look for Morris. Wild shot. And the backup for Louisville. New facility well underway over near Lake Hartwell here in Clemson. A $20+ million facility dedicated just to women's lacrosse. And there isn't a lot of history for this Clemson program, but that's a huge tool that Allsion Kwolek can use on the recruiting trail.
No, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned the women's sport expansion project. Lacrosse certainly is going to benefit from that. It's going to be an absolute beautiful facility lakeside that I know these ladies will enjoy and very much deserve. And they've had a lot of success, the coaching staff, selling that vision of excellence that will be here.
Just continued support from both the administration, Jim Clements, Graham Neff, the athletic director at Clemson, to invest in women's sports. You look there at the exact numbers on that upcoming expansion. Not only will there be a lacrosse stadium, but ultimately a new program, gymnastics, that starts in 2024. Rowing's going to see some improvements as well, as Clemson really just continues to pour resources into women's athletics, and these programs are really paying off that investment.
Absolutely. It is a time for women's sports here at Clemson. As they say, hear her roar, a $50 million campaign to fundraise for women's sport expansion.
Jordy, you played in the middle 2000s. How exciting is it for someone like you who played in this sport to see the growth around the sport, and even more so now to be on the front lines of it here at Clemson?
Oh, it's an absolute dream come true. The fact that I get to be an administrator here and 4 o'clock on a Wednesday get to come out and watch the sport that I love and see the growth and the excitement around it. It's amazing.
Timeout called by the Clemson Tigers, and we're going to take it with them. Clemson, a 10-goal advantage here in the fourth quarter. Clemson leading here in the fourth quarter, and for the Louisville Cardinals, the road does not get any easier. They've got road trips to Virginia Tech, then they welcome Duke in their penultimate game of the regular season before going to Notre Dame. Jordy, you've had a 3 quarters and change to watch this Louisville team. Is there an area that you feel like this Cardinals team can improve?
Yeah, no, Coach Teeter's got to be frustrated today with the performance on offense. Very stagnant. I certainly could see a little more creativity, It seems very static, predictable, if you will, and Clemson is just putting the pressure on and shutting that down. So certainly more creativity on offense.
Yeah, that Louisville team, they had a lot of success with some of those set pieces early, but it felt like once that Clemson defense got comfortable, Louisville just has not had many scoring opportunities in this second half.
Yeah, Clemson did a great job on the weave, shutting down that first look, that second look. It's almost like when that first and second look weren't there, things seem to break down a bit on Louisville's offense. So coach has got to be frustrated. I know assistant coach Kaylin Morissette had a great career at Louisville, really high-level offensive player. I see the frustration in her as well on the sideline.
Louisville still searching for some offensive looks here. Nice move at the top by Lifson. Lifson picking up a couple assists in that last game against Syracuse, her first points of her career.
As I look out at this Louisville offense, I see a lot of standing around. Again, it's just waiting for someone to take it themselves. Very, very individual play at the moment.
So Louisville trying to salvage something out of this game. It's been a frustrating showing for Louisville. That one bounced. How did that stay out of goal? No, they'll say it is a goal. That crossed the goal line. It was oh so close. Snuck it past Lamparter, and Louisville picks up their first goal since the 4:38 mark in the second quarter. That has to feel really good for the Cardinals. Yeah, it was a great response coming out of that timeout for Louisville. Here's the replay. Nice move, turns, fires, getting Lampert off her angle. It looked like that was Natoli who snuck that one past Lamparter. Here's a second look. It is indeed Tiffany Natoli. I don't know. Did that one cross the line? It has to fully cross the line. That one looked like it was awfully close. Lamparter, I think, was a little bit surprised that that was whistled as a goal. So first goal in nearly 25 minutes for Louisville. That offense went stagnant after a strong 4-goal second quarter. This Clemson team, we talked about the opportunity coming into this game, Jordy, and as we look ahead, there's several winnable games at the end of this campaign. You've got upcoming games at Virginia Tech. You welcome Pittsburgh here to end the regular season. But this Clemson team, it feels like the pieces are all put together for a strong late season run and potentially a pretty decent seed at the ACC tournament.
Yeah, Clemson certainly has their work cut out for them against Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and Pitt, but feeling confident coming off this momentum that Clemson can take care of business on the road, and ending here with Pitt.
Nine-goal lead for Clemson back on offense. This was the 4th best offense in the country coming into today, and they've further shown why. There's Scanlon. Picks up her 3rd goal. Actually, now they're going to call a shooting space violation, and I think the Clemson players are a bit confused. Now the officials coming together to talk and decide what the call should be. Still no official signal, and now it looks like it's going to go back to Louisville. Some confusion. Here's another look at what just took place. I don't know there. I'm a bit confused.
Still not sure what the call is. Maybe a save.
Looked like there was a shooting space call initially. Scanlon clearly put it back in the back of the net, but Louisville will get possession back. The Cardinals scoring on their last time down. Now a chance here to perhaps put another goal on the scoreboard and make this an 8-goal game.
This would be good practice for Louisville. Work on their response, really maximizing the opportunities, which they haven't done a great job of today.
Yeah, Scott Teeter told us to expect to see some of the younger players. If we got into a situation like this, he's been true to his word there. There's Alexis Steffens, the senior attacker. Free position opportunity now for Steffens. After not scoring in 25 minutes, Louisville a chance to go back-to-back. Steffens snuck it past Lamparter. And Louisville putting together a little run here in the 4th quarter. Back-to-back goals. They're back within 8. A good response from the Cardinals.
Nice shot by Steffens. Again, a silver lining here for Louisville. They're able to get some of their bench in. Opportunity to see them on film on the big stage in an ACC game.
Just the 2nd goal of the season for Alexis Steffens. Cutting further into that Clemson advantage. Louisville 2 4th quarter goals here to make it an 8-goal Clemson lead. Been a windy afternoon here in Clemson, South Carolina. Jordy Keir, I'm Noah Frary. Thanks for tuning in to this Saturday afternoon showdown in the Atlantic Coast Conference. A couple of other good games going on around the league here this weekend as well. Several of the top teams, UNC taking on Notre Dame in South Bend. That game currently being played. Syracuse will take on number 11 Virginia at home later on this evening. So some great games if you're a women's lacrosse fan here in the ACC.
Yeah, and the Hokies are on the road at Duke. Should be a good one this afternoon as well.
And Jordy, there just are not many easy games in this conference week in and week out.
Absolutely not. It is a battle.
We told you earlier on in the broadcast, 7 of the 10 teams currently ranked inside the top 25. Clemson, the lowest of the 7, a miscue there on offense. But for Clemson to be ranked 22nd, Jordy, put that in perspective. A first-year program being ranked in the top 25. There's not a lot of history to speak to in terms of that occurring.
Oh, it's remarkable. It is remarkable what Allison and staff have been able to do and get them in the polls early on. and to stay in the polls, stay in the rankings. It's remarkable and will really be energizing for them as they go out on the road and compete for those recruits that, you know, Scott Teeter was talking about, the competitiveness of the transfer portal and just the recruiting process, and how being a ranked team in the first year of Clemson lacrosse history will really serve them well.
Speaks to a lot of the hard work that went on behind the scenes. Allsion Kwolek was the head coach at Richmond. She had to take a season off as they didn't play last year. Her and this staff, Madison Carter, Bill Olin, putting in a lot of work to bring in this recruiting class that had 11 transfers. Brought in a talented freshman class. They're looking like they're going to do that again heading into the 2024 season.
Clemson offense taking care of the ball a little better this possession.
Good feed from Chepnick, was trying to connect with New. And it's Hilcoff who scoop it up off the turf. We started the broadcast talking about New's ability to get in the middle, and she also does such a nice job of catching those tough passes.
Great stick, always expecting the ball, that's the key.
Great look inside. Martiri fouled and will now have an opportunity from the 8-meter line.
Martiri played at the Czech Republic national team.
Yeah, multiple players in this game had a chance to represent their respective countries at the World Games in Birmingham this past year. 5 different nations represented here today: Mexico, Japan, Canada, and several others.
And we could even say the U.S. with Allsion Kwolek having played in the early 2000s. Is that correct on the USA team?
Sounds right. Martiri, one of the seniors being honored today, gets inside. Martiri sneaks it past Jay Pleck. Another senior on the scoreboard here today. It's Martiri who picks up the goal, her 16th of the season, and Clemson pouring it on here today.
Martiri doing an excellent job on this replay, really tucking her stick, using her shoulders to protect, and getting that nice angle, getting herself inside the 8. She makes it look easy.
6 fourth quarter goals for Clemson. Martiri, the latest. Now 9 different goal scorers for Clemson in this game. And the Tigers just not letting their foot off the gas here today. .5:45 to go here in the fourth quarter, and the wind really starting to roar here inside historic Riggs Field. A blustery day, and check out the flags blowing directly away from the press box. Big thanks to all our crew out braving some of those elements, but Jordy, it's been a perfect day. It was raining here this morning. We didn't know how wet the field was going to be pregame. It was perfect, and then the sun really came out, and this has just been the perfect canvas for a great day of women's lacrosse here in the upstate.
Well said, Noah. And you know, we'll take high winds over rains any day. You know, while wind may be a little uncomfortable for the fans, it doesn't really impact the game as much as rain would impacting the shot.
Great pass. Jimerson, who already has a hat trick, unable to get open. Still plenty of time on the shot clock for this Clemson offense that still has a majority of the starting unit on the field. Good pass behind. Extra look, New. And there was a whistle. It'll be a foul against Louisville, so Gianna New will have an opportunity from the 8-meter line. New scoring back in that second quarter. Her 40th goal of the season, one of just 3 alongside Megan Carney and Ashlyn McGovern in the conference this year. Here goes New, hard to cage, too wide, and the backup goes to Maloney. Oh, great pass and the catch, Gianna New on the doorstep. And a goal for Clemson. Gianna New has her second. And the Tigers, the lead back to double digits.
Gianna New once again slippery on the back end, displaying her hard work, tenacity, always trying to look for her defender's ponytail, slipping on that back door and finishing strong. Great job by Gianna New.
New with 2 more goals today, now 90 goals over the last 2 seasons. She came in seeking that 40th goal of the season. She's got it. She has 2 today. And Gianna New continues to put herself in the conversation for a nod on that first team in those all ACC awards. She's been that good this year on offense for Clemson.
No doubt. She, I mean, that graphic earlier in the game that we showed here, being in that 40s club, being with some of the, in the conversation with some of the best, she certainly deserves those accolades.
Yeah, those are 2 pretty good names to have your name alongside Ashlyn McGovern, Megan Carney, who's on that #1 ranked Syracuse unit.
People may not have known Gianna New prior to her breakout with Clemson, but now they can't forget her. She's certainly high on the scouting reports.
New, the story goes, she was at Davidson and she put her name in the transfer portal, and within a week she had committed to come play for Allsion Kwolek. Those 2 competed against each other when Kwolek was at Richmond. She saw that name go into the transfer portal. She says, I have to have Gianna New. What a big addition that's been for the Clemson Tigers. So Clemson, woman up here, 2 Cardinals in the penalty box. So Clemson with a golden opportunity to perhaps get their 19th goal. Get a look there at Peroni as well as Marley Scott, both in the penalty box. Good passing, better defense, though, for Louisville. Impressive, just 4 defenders on 6 offensive players. Here comes Scott racing back in. Louisville will be 1 woman down now. Peroni still on the sideline. Jimerson, good look.
Incredible look, high to low on the crease.
And it's Maloney who picks up another goal. 10 different goal scorers today for the Clemson Tigers. And it's an impressive 19 spot for Clemson here today against the Louisville Cardinals.
Again, Maloney, natural lefty. She rolls up the crease. Great handle, and then with that riser shot, riser meaning drops her stick low and flicks it high. Really, really difficult for a goalie to track on that.
An 11-goal advantage for Clemson. Jordy, thinking back to your playing career, what was your favorite type of shot on offense?
Actually looked kind of similar. Coming around on the lefty on the crease there, handling it and being inside, low to high.
When you're coming around that corner, how do you make the decision of when's the right time to shoot as the offensive player?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you don't want to catch and shoot right away. You got to get your head around, but really making sure that you take that extra second to either fake with your stick, you know, dropping it low and shooting high, or doing that hitch, as we call it, on the crease. So probably a half a second after you catch that release.
She's Jordy Keir. I'm Noah Frary. An 11-goal advantage for Clemson. 8 goals here in this fourth quarter, rather. Rather, 8 goals in the second half now for the Clemson Tigers. And a draw control win as they continue to pour it on. Star Howard getting an opportunity to come back in on senior day. She'll throw it away. Louisville will have possession. Jordy, I'm sure you still remember your senior day, just knowing that that was going to be one of the final home games that you would play. I'm sure there were some added emotions before the game for you, as there probably were for some of these Clemson Tigers here today. Yeah.
Senior day is always really exciting, but certainly another layer of emotion. Hand in hand with my parents, who didn't miss a game in my 4 years. It was certainly a moment to remember that I do today.
Yellow card shown to Peyton Howell. She's going to have to come off. Post-game festivities for the Clemson Tigers. They will honor 9 seniors here today. Still one more home game We've seen a shift towards that. It used to kind of be that final home game that you would honor your seniors, but in years past that's kind of changed a little bit, making sure that those seniors get an opportunity for recognition in front of the home crowd.
Scoring 19 goals against a strong Louisville team, that is just an incredible effort. There's going to be a lot of highlights in the film room following this game, but also an opportunity to reflect on some of the uncaused turnovers here late in the game for Clemson that they'll certainly need to continue to clean up and sharpen up as they head into more ACC play.
And Clemson, certainly they're going to have to regroup and do it quickly next weekend. They're playing the #1 team in the country up at the Dome, the former Carrier Dome in Syracuse. And that Syracuse team, you've watched them a little bit this year. They've been impressive, and their bevy of offensive weapons, it has been outstanding.
Yeah, but one thing about being around this Clemson team a little bit is they do play with a chip on their shoulder. They are not intimidated by any program history, so they've really, I think, they'll be ready to go. They'll be bringing their best game.
We've seen them play a tight game, a win against Duke here in Clemson, South Carolina. There was that tight game against Boston College until the Eagles kind of separated themselves in that fourth quarter. Disappointer against UNC. That was clearly a game that they would have liked to seen them play better, but they will get a big test against Syracuse and perhaps an opportunity, Jordy, to further make a statement in this conference.
Yeah, UNC certainly showed their veteran stripes there the other day, but I think Clemson learned a lot, obviously studied film and came out ready to go. So,
shot clock off. Now the final 20 seconds. Click away. Be at least a 10-win season for the Clemson Tigers in their inaugural campaign. Tigers just 10 seconds away now from picking up their second ACC victory. That one stopped at the doorstep. The clock now will stop. 1.7 seconds remaining. And we're going to hand out an additional card for a dangerous throwing there on Gianna New. Louisville will have possession, and that will about do it here today. 10 wins for a first-year program. That has to be exciting for Allsion Kwolek and this staff.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. Exceeding expectations. What a senior day for this group of seniors here at Clemson.
Yeah, just a great way to send off this group. Again, they will play one game against Pittsburgh, and if we've learned anything during this season, this Clemson team looks like they could make a run at the ACC tournament in Charlotte in a few short weeks.
Today certainly was an opportunity to position them well.
Big performance from the Clemson Tigers. Jordy, really good offensively today for Clemson. What impressed you most about that unit?
Just the multiple threats, the way that they were able to all step up, move the ball, and have multiple goal scorers today was incredible.
Huge win today for the Clemson Tigers. So for Jordy Keir, our producer Easton Smith, and the rest of our ACC Network production crew, I'm Noah Frary saying so long from Clemson, where our final score, Clemson 19, Louisville 8. This has been a presentation of ACC Women's Lacrosse on the ACC Network.